Good afternoon. This is another episode of Bridging Black Love, and I'm Dr. Jacqueline.
And this is Misha. And today we will be talking about addiction and marriage.
And we have the esteemed honor of having Miss Bertha McElroy with us. She is not just a member of Bridging Black Love, but she is also my auntie. Y'all give a round of applause to my auntie, Bertha.
Good morning, everybody, or is it afternoon? Wherever you're at, whatever it is, good to you.
So we're really excited to have her here with us today. We have a really important topic that she wanted to discuss with us, and it's about addiction in marriage, as Misha said. And so just a little brief history about my aunt. She was married for 25 years, and I'm going to let her do a little more introduction about her marriage, how young she was, and all of the things that, before we get into the first question. So Bertha, take it away. Tell us a little bit about yourself. And
my name is Bertha McElroy. I was married for 25 years to a crack cocaine addict. I did not realize he was an addict for like 10 years. I found out the hard way, and I didn't really want to believe it, but I stuck with it and I stayed with it. And I know there's going to be a lot of people says, well, I wouldn't have. You don't know what you would do until you're there. Okay, remember that. You never know what you were going to do. Don't believe that I didn't think that I was going to stay either, but I did. I stayed a whole 15 years later. All right. But I'll let you guys get into the questions and ask me what you want to ask me. You might see a few tears, you might not, I hope I've gotten to the point where I'm a little bit thicker skin and can, answer questions without breaking down. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I want any man or woman who is married to an addict to know that no matter what you do, you cannot change an addict. They have to change themselves. What you can do is continue to be with them and killing yourself. That's what you can do. Okay, so go ahead.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for that. And honestly, you brought up a very important topic that touched me. And it's something Misha and I talk about all the time. It's what people tell you when you're going through something, people that you love, people you care about, they'll say, well, it couldn't be me, or I would never. Misha,
how many times? And then it'd be them. It'd be them.
And we never will go through until we've gone through it. So when people tell you what they wouldn't stick around for, what they wouldn't do, we're humans, and we don't know until we get to that bridge. So thank you for your, we appreciate your honesty, your vulnerability, even to tell your story. So we respect it and we appreciate it. So, Bertha, what was your expectation of marriage prior to getting married?
Well, I wanted that picket fence like everybody else. I wanted to be married forever. I wanted to grow old and sit on the porch and in the rocking chair with my grandchildren around me and my family. I wanted that old school marriage. I wanted to be married forever. And I thought that's what I had. I thought that was going to be that way, but it didn't turn out that way. Even though it was hard, I had to do what I had to do for me. I had to make it right for me.
Okay. When did the signs of addiction begin to present themselves?
Actually, in all honesty, I was kind of stupid. I really was. I couldn't figure out what was going on. I couldn't meet my bills. Money was disappearing. And I was wondering now, what am I doing wrong? Why can't what's going on? Why can't I eat? Why can't my money's just not going where it should be? I was paying the house note, I was paying the car note, but the extra money wasn't there anymore. And I was trying to figure out now, what the hell? What am I doing? And I didn't realize that he was a drug addict until one day I saw him following up behind someone who sold drugs. When I say following, I mean like puppy dog love, walking behind them, hey, something like that. That's when I knew something was wrong. Other than that, I did not know. And when I did finally find out that it was happening, I tried to kill him. I sure did. I had a big old tray and I hit that mother with it. I had to, because I was hurt.
Yeah.
When you're hurting, anything can happen. We never had any kinds of physical altercation in our marriage. Never. We might have had a few words, but we never physically did anything to each other. But that broke me. That broke me to a point where I didn't even think about it. I just snapped. And all honesty, he told me himself. He finally admitted what was going on, and I snapped. And I snapped because I'm going to be honest with you. One day, my sister called me, and my niece wanted to come over. And I said, she could come. It's fine. She can come over whenever she wants. I said, however, I don't have that much food, but whatever I have to eat, I'm gonna make it work. So all of us go eat, right? And she said, Bertha, and this killed me to my heart. Yeah, I'm gonna cry from this one. She said to me, Bertha, I know you're not over there with no food in your house. And I'm over here with money in my pocket. And I'll never forget, and I will give her anything that I have because of it, because she sent me like $1,000 to live off of, and I'll never forget her for that. But anyway, I don't know what made him tell me that he was a drug addict, that he was addicted. But when I found out, it just snapped, because when you do things to people that love you unconditionally, and you find out that they don't love you the way that you love them enough to give up everything, to do everything to make them happy, and you find out that they have hurt you to your core because they broke your trust. And once the trust is gone, you don't have nothing else. Okay, I'm better now. Next.
And this makes me emotional because, of course, it's my aunt. And her husband, her ex-husband, was one of my favorite uncles. We were not related by blood, but that was going to be the person who's going to walk me down the aisle. And he was always there. I knew him to be a certain person. And then when I went to college, it was a very different thing that I was hearing. And so, you just, and even I get emotional, even I know the story, I know of the sister, I know of all of that, but it's still hard to hear. And so this affects my aunt, this affects my cousins. And so that was my next question to you, Bertha, is, these kind of things, addiction affects generations. It doesn't just affect the two people that are involved. It affects your children and your children's children. And so, how has it affected your children and the lineage?
Well, as far as I know, my youngest does not have anything to do with his father.
Can you tell everybody how many children you have?
I have 3 children. They are two ages. 2 of them are like a year. Yeah, I was hot. A year and a month apart. And then the other one, my last one, my baby, is like 7 years between the first one to the last one. And he, unfortunately, didn't get to see the good dad. Now, don't get me wrong, because my ex-husband was a great husband in the beginning, okay? He was a great father. He was a great husband, great provider. He just didn't love us. He loved all of my family. He used to laugh and joke and say, I'm the only man alive that's got 4 wives. He was talking about my sisters because, they didn't give him a break either. But he loved every last one. He spent time with every last one, especially my nieces and nephews. We did family stuff, and he would be a part of it. He would come over every Sunday. We all would get together. We go play ball. We would do something as a family. And I do mean a big family. Everybody was there. So it didn't just affect my children. It affected my nieces and nephews, because we were supposed to be a family. They saw us as a family. They saw the picket fence. They saw the husband, the wife, the children, doing financially stable, the house, the cars. They saw all of this, and they saw us love, you know what I mean? And then my daughter she was hurt because one day she trusted her dad with her son, and her dad took the son to a house that he should not have taken him to. And that became a bridge between the two of them, because, she loved her dad. He was the greatest thing since sliced bread, right? My middle son, I think he's in denial. He tries to think that even though we went through what we went through, we're still a family. We still, that's still his dad. I'm his mom. We're still a family. That's my husband. He ain't. And my youngest does not have anything to do with his dad. He says, I just couldn't. And I found out why. My ex-husband had taken my son to a drug house and left him out in the car while he went to get high. Things like that affect your children. They affect your family. I can't say anything to him. I can't say, well, that's still your dad. You need to respect him. He does respect him. He respects him from afar. And I cannot say anything because he didn't get to see the good dad. He looked towards another neighbor's father to be that dad that he didn't have. That was the man that taught him things, taught him how to do things, how to fix things, how to become the man he is today, because my son is an engineer. My youngest one, he is not an engineer, I'm sorry, he's an architect. He loves building things. He loves building houses. He loves doing things. And it was because of another person that happened. Now, his dad was the one that made it possible for him to go to school, but he wasn't there for him emotionally. Okay.
Yeah. That's rough. After you decided to leave the marriage and you began to go out and date again, how did dealing with a marriage or ending a marriage that sort of came to addiction, how did that affect you in relationships going forward?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I turned into somebody that I wasn't. I became what I wanted to be. Let me see how this. I did everything that I never done before. I tried sex the best way I could try it. Ooh, that was the best time of my life. But anyway, I did, everything I hadn't experienced. I said, I'm gonna do it. I wanted a tattoo. I went and got a tattoo. I wanted an affair. I had an affair. I did everything. But as far as it is now, it's kind of hard for me to trust men. It's kind of hard for me to put all my emotions into things. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the men that I meet today are not men that I would really want to be married to unless they could prove to me that I'm gonna be the first thing in their life. I know it's God, and then it's them, and then it's me. No, it's God, then me, then them. Or we gotta be a partnership. If we can't be a partnership, I can't do that. If I was to give me now, the way I am and as stable as I am now, in order for me to become a partner with a man, I would have to sell my house, okay, and buy a new house, and we would have to bring the same amount to that relationship. And the reason I say this is because I have children. I've worked hard for what I have, and I could not see myself, I'm getting old. I'm going to eventually die. I cannot see myself dying and leaving all of my stuff to someone and my children end up with nothing. And I worked hard for it. And besides, I figure if we become equal, we both come with the same, you know what I mean? We're equal, we're partners. We're going to make it happen. We're going to make it work. We're going to be together. We're going to be equal partners. So I can't never throw up in his face, well, this is all mine. And he can't throw up in my face, well, this is all mine. We came in as on equal footing. We're equal. And whatever happens, happens. And that's the way I feel. But my biggest thought is always in the back of my mind, The first thing I think of is I'm never going to be with somebody who does drugs. If I see you, think you doing drugs, see you later. Now, you want to smoke your weed, go ahead. But if you're doing any kind of drugs, hard drugs, I'm not going to be a part of that. I won't. I could tell you guys stories, but you don't have enough time for that. Okay. I did things to try to keep my marriage because I did not want to feel like a failure. Okay. I did not want to be, I wanted my picket fence. I wanted my family. And I stayed as long as I stayed because I wanted my family.
Yeah.
I wanted that picket fence. I did not want to be a statistic. I didn't. But because I was staying in a toxic, and I do mean toxic, relationship, I was killing myself. He was still doing what he was doing, but I was killing myself. I was trying to figure out ways how I could make it work. I would say, well, maybe if I just gave him so much money a week and he would spend that money, maybe everything will work. Or I would say, well, maybe it's all my fault. What did I do? Maybe I could have been a better wife. I could have given him more. I could have done more. I could have. That's what I was doing. But in the meantime, I was killing myself. I was not making anything better. Now, when you're an addict, you are sick, very sick. An addict, I must say that. An addict is an addict, and they are very sick. They are chasing demons that we could never think of, and they would never think to tell us. Because don't think he didn't go through rehab. He went through rehab twice, and I stood by that rehab. I went to all those meetings. I was in those meetings crying like everybody else. I went there at night. I did whatever I could do. I tried to make it right. He went through one a year. And I'm not lying. A year and 2 days later, you know what he said to me? He went right back out there. And he said to me, the reason I did it was because I went through all of that and nobody came to me and said, oh, congratulations. They didn't make me feel I did anything. That was a lie. You went back there because you wanted to go back there.
Right. That
didn't have nothing to do with nobody. I sat there. I embarrassed myself. I let everything out. I cried. I'm sitting there every meeting I was there. I cried. I went on the weekends. I went through the week. When they wanted us to come in and talk, I was there. I did whatever it took, but it still wasn't enough. That's what people have to understand.
Yeah.
An addict is an addict. He has issues that you can't control. You can't make him happy no matter what you do. Just get ready, because in the end, the only person's dying is you.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. I know that, addiction, now they're looking at it as a mental health disorder. And it most likely is. I'm not licensed to speak about it. I remember going to these meetings with you. I remember how much you were immersed in this lifestyle and wanting to really help your husband. And it's unfortunate because addiction has so many things, and sometimes people can also manipulate situations. The addiction can have them manipulate certain situations and certain people. And even now, since I've known you my entire life, how has that affected who you are as a person? You kind of spoke about it, about just the love aspect of loving someone else, but how does it affect you on the inside and how you view yourself?
It's not easy. Mm-hmm. It's not easy because let me go back. I started to heal when I went to counseling. And I had to go to counseling because I was dying. Okay. I went to the doctors. I was going through depression. They tried to give me some medicine. The first medicine they gave me, I think, was Prozac. That medicine turned me into a zombie. It made me feel like I don't care about nothing. I don't care what happens to me. It was just horrible. And it affected me so bad. I was thinking, I could just slip my wrist and I wouldn't feel a thing. I wouldn't even know about it. That's what somebody else's addiction does to a person who has given them nothing but themselves. Okay. I was his wife. I did everything I could to try to make him happy. You know, I was that housekeeper. I was the bill payer. I was everything. And I got from that his addiction. So I had to go to counseling to cure myself. And the counselor told me, Bertha, while you're here getting healthy, he don't care. He's out there doing what he's going to do. Okay. So every week I would go to counseling, and every week I'd fill out that paper. When you go to counseling, they give you this form and you have to fill out how you feeling for the day. And every week I was doing the same thing. Depressed, upset. Were you suicidal? No, but I was thinking of killing him. But, you know, she couldn't, Bertha, you can't tell me that. But, you know, but that was the way I was feeling, you know. And I would do that every week. And then finally I said, you know, I'm going to get a divorce. And I would go in week after week after week. And I said, I'm going to get a divorce. And then one time I went in and I said, I did it. And she says, well, Bertha, what did you do? I said, I filed the papers. Now, mind you, I had to lie to file those papers because he didn't want to get a divorce. And afterwards, he told people that I wasn't what do they call those chicks that stick by you a lot? What do they call those?
Ride or die.
Ride or die chick.
Lord.
I wasn't no ride or die chick. Evidently, you ain't no ride or die because you got a divorce. I said, oh, okay.
Yeah, because you killed me.
Yeah, okay. If that makes you feel happy to say I was no ride or die, I took all your money, I did everything. You had no money. So, you know, that's fine. Go ahead. You can say what you want. And I was one of those women that it hurt me to my core to believe that I should have stayed, you know, that maybe I should have stayed. And maybe I should have did better. Maybe I should have went and stayed with him and went through and toughed it out. But in the inside, I was losing out. I was killing myself. I was robbing Peter to pay Paul. I was robbing Peter to pay drug dealers so they wouldn't kill him or come to my house and kill me and my children. I was doing everything to make it so that I could stay married. And I finally said, I cannot do this anymore. I'm just not going to do it. I deserve better. And now, as far as myself, I still feel like a failure sometimes, right? I still feel like I can give all to a man, but I won't get what I deserve. I need a man who wants to say, I love you. I'm going to take care of you. We're going to be in this together. We're going to ride this no matter what. We're going to fight. We're going to argue, but we still going to be together. We're going to be with each other. And I'm going to respect you and you're going to respect me. And I don't think I'll find that. I don't know if I can find it. As a matter of fact, if I found it, I wouldn't know I had it. Because I wouldn't know what it looks like. Because I thought I had that. And what did I do? I got slapped in the face. I gave everything and I didn't get that in return. So yes, I do feel guilty. Sometimes I look in the mirror and say, oh my God, you know, I feel ugly because I feel like a failure because I gave up when I could have fought, because I'm 58 years old, okay? I'm 58 and I'm starting all over. I've been divorced for 13 years. You know, men ain't knocking at my door, but I ain't knocking at theirs either. But, you know, that's a whole different story. And those that have knocked, I think something's seriously wrong with them. But I gotta say this, when I was married, I married young, right? And when you marry young, you don't understand relationships, and you don't, okay? So in my case, I didn't understand that if you want a man, you gotta let a man be a man. When I say that, I don't mean him going out cheating and you accepting it, or his crazy crap and you accept it. No, I don't mean that. What I mean is that if you want a man, you have to let him be the man he's supposed to be. And what I find is the men that I see today, or a lot of that I've met, have issues. When I say issues, they have things in the past. They're carrying their backpacks and they still loading them up, and they just stay there. They don't try to get help. They don't try to get anything to make them feel good about themselves. The best thing I did was to go to counseling. Best thing, because I think if I hadn't went to counseling, I would not have gotten the strength to move on with my life. All right.
And so I do have a question.
Yeah, me too.
Have you fully forgiven yourself?
No.
And I mean, for not being that ride or die, because literally when people think of ride or die, it's really that you're just going to put up with everything, or you're going to die. And death for people are different things. Sometimes there's women who've been to prison for men. There's women who have lost their, put up with things that they would not have thought that they would have put up with. And so sometimes we don't forgive ourselves for getting out of that. And so, when are you going to forgive yourself for putting Bertha first?
Well, I don't even know how to answer that, because I forgave myself for staying as long as I stayed. I kind of still feel bad because of my children. They don't have that family life.
But
And
did you take that, or did he take that?
he took
Are you
it.
blaming yourself for them not having the family life that you tried to give them, and you still give them to this day?
I don't even know how to answer that, Jackie. I don't understand, because I don't understand how you can be a good woman. I mean, really good. Or you think you're a good woman, and that's still not enough. I don't understand what more I could have done to make him be better, to get better, to want me instead of wanting that girl, because that's what I call her, that chick. Because evidently I wasn't woman enough to be, and his family wasn't enough for him to give up anything but what he wanted. He was selfish, and that's what it is. And you know what? That's what I can say.
Yeah.
When you get into a marriage and a relationship, you cannot be selfish. You cannot. It cannot be me, 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 me. It just cannot be that. If you find yourself in a situation where it's always, and you can hear it, because everything centers around them. Everything centers around them. I call it the me. And it's me because I want it for me. I don't care about the kids. I want to be first. Me, right? Everything's about them. You're the last person, right? And it's kind of sad, because I was raised in that era where the women were the last, right? And so when you're the last for so long, it's hard to become the first. And it's like a fight. You're like a fighting. Well, I wasn't raised to be like that. I'm supposed to stick by him. I'm supposed to do this. But you know what? Even a dog will bite you if you kick him long enough. I don't care how much you feed him and what you do to him, but he will bite you if you keep kicking him, right? So if a dog know when to leave and can't take it no more, then I should be able to leave too. But you don't think about that. You think about, okay, I could have done something better. And I know I'm healing slowly, because I did not want to be one of those women who divorced and became a he-man hater. I didn't. But what I did find out about myself is that now I can look at relationships and I can look at men and I can know whether or not I want to be with that person, right? Because I'm not going to settle for second again. I'm not going to settle for last. I'm not settling just to be settling. I'm not going to settle just to be with a man. Okay. They have toys for that. So that's how I feel about it. Hey, I'm being honest.
That are you for real? That's real. Yeah.
Did you have a?
I did.
Okay.
So I think when we think about addiction, we automatically go to alcohol, drugs, and there's gambling, there's sex addiction, there's, all kind of addiction. What advice would you give to, and I guess I shouldn't just say a woman, but anyone who finds themselves in a relationship with someone suffering from an addiction?
The best advice I could give somebody would be to seek help. Not for them, but for you. Because in order for someone to be an addiction, right? Now he's addicted. He's an addiction. He has an addiction, right? But you have an addiction too, because you want to stay in something that can't be stayed in. You trying to fix something that can't be fixed. That's an addiction too. You trying to hold on to something that don't want to be held. You need to go get help for yourself. Let him take care of him, but you need to take care of you. And if you got babies, you take care of your babies, you take care of you, and don't look back. Run, because nobody's going to help you but you. He's not going to help you. She's not going to help you. And I don't care how much love you have. Sometimes love ain't enough. Sometimes you got to want more than just love, because you'll wake up the next day and he's still doing the same stuff he was doing, and you slowly dying inside. And it's just not supposed to be. You can love somebody. My mother once told me one time, she said, you can love a person too much. And that's the truth. When you find yourself loving a person more than you love yourself, then you have a problem too. Right. And if I could tell anybody, that would be what I would tell them. Go get help. Get help for you. Don't worry about him, because if he see you changing and he wants to come along, then he gonna get on board. But if he doesn't want to come along, you keep it moving. Right. Because in the end, you got to save yourself. There's nothing better, and there's nothing wrong with saving yourself. That was my problem. I thought I was doing something wrong, but there's nothing wrong with saving yourself.
Right.
And not only that, imagine having children that was seeing this, and I stayed. Imagine if he was beating me. What's the difference between him being an addict and I'm staying, and him beating me and I'm staying? What's the difference? I'm still addicted to that same person, because most people say, well, he was going to kill me. Okay, you dying anyway. Leave.
Right.
All right. Physical abuse and addiction are two different things, right? One's physical, the other's emotional. But when you look into a physical abuse, that's emotional too.
Yeah.
Right? He's taking something from you. There's nothing anybody have, any man or woman have, that should make you take away your own self-respect. Nothing. Because when you wake up, he gonna be doing him, and you're gonna still be dead, half dead from waiting, hoping that he's gonna change. Go and live your life, because he ain't gonna change. Nobody's gonna change unless they want to change.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah. And just one last thing for me to say is, like, I keep hearing you say the word death, lots of things dying. And that, that is a lot for me to hear, because I know, like I said, I know you, and I know that's really how you feel. And I know it's so much easier said than done. And when people say, it's their addiction is about them, it's not about you. But when somebody's addicted to something and they can't get over this hurdle, and no matter how much you love them, how much you give to them, how much you sacrifice for them, how much you cry for them, how much you pray for them, you can be bloody on the knees from praying for them, asking God to fix it. But if they don't want to fix it, they won't. And then it affects our self-worth, and it really makes you feel dead on the inside.
It does.
Somebody constantly eating at you, and you're like, am I enough? Did I give enough? If I would have done this, if I would have said that, if I would have acted this way, if I would have done this with the kids, if I would have done this with money, if I wouldn't have bought this car, if I didn't have this house, if I didn't have this, then maybe they wouldn't have reacted that way, But the fact of the matter is, they chose to act that way. And
Right.
that sometimes we have to take back our power, and it's so much easier said than done, but we have to take back our power. When people are doing certain things, sometimes it's not about us, it's all about them. And that's just it's my little 2 cents. And it's really
Yeah.
hard with addiction. And I think that's why even people like, Jackie, well, you're not married. Um, there's so many different things that just, and addiction is hard. It is very hard. And I commend you for telling your story. And I hope that it reaches people. And like Misha said, there's so many different types of addiction. People could be addicted to shoes, a flashy lifestyle, having cars, it's not just drugs and alcohol.
Yep.
They be addicted to having kids.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, better than me.
There are people who are addicted to having children.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you for telling your story. I'm gonna let Misha give her closing statements, and thank you.
Yeah, no, I just appreciate the transparency. I was married for many years too, so I can relate to that whole stigma of wanting to be a ride or die. And I tell people all the time, I died a million times in
Yep.
relationships. So I've been rode and I didn't die. So I was a ride or die. And it's important to know when to get off the ride
Right.
before you die, and you owe that to yourself. And I can relate to you heal yourself, but you're never, when you come out of a relationship that really is like maybe a first heartbreak, you never fully, it's healing is like all the time, it's ongoing. You're never completely healed, because the way you approach every relationship from that relationship on is affected by that relationship. You speak about being apprehensive of entering into a relationship, and it's kind of like you bring the fear of that relationship with you everywhere you go. And so it's like, are we ever really healed? I think the work is something that you have to you do all the time. I have to remind myself all the time that, I'm not in that relationship anymore, and that this is a new relationship and this is a new person, and everything that happened, and I don't have to fear the risk of what happened in the past relationship going into the next one and the next one and the next one. And there's a lot of people that don't talk about, and brave enough like you were to share it. A lot more people would feel seen. And I definitely feel seen after talking to you. So I appreciate you and your transparency.
Well, whoever I can help,
Yeah.
I'm just hoping, that's what I'm hoping. That's why I'm here. And that's why I was being transparent, because if my situation can help the next one, I don't care if it's a man or a woman, but if it would help you, if there's anything that I said that you can take away from this to make you a better person, then do it.
Mhm. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're going to close with that. Thank you all for checking in. We have a lot more topics coming up. If you want to join and be a panelist on Bridging Black Love, just let us know in the comment section, and let us know what you think and what you, and if you want to share your story with Bertha, find out more information from her about how she started putting herself first. Please do so in the comments. So we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.